Imagine you're seated at a beautifully set dining table in a bustling restaurant somewhere far from home. You're surrounded by a mix of new colleagues and potential friends. The aroma of unfamiliar spices wafts through the air, tantalizing your senses. But there's an undercurrent of anxiety. What if you commit an unintentional faux pas? What if a seemingly innocent move leaves you at odds with the cultural expectations of your hosts or peers? Dining etiquette is one of those things that can instantly highlight cultural barriers. These rules are subtle yet potent and can make or break first impressions. They matter because they go beyond just eating. They're a form of communication, a social contract that binds people together across the table. A misstep might not only be awkward, but could potentially damage your social standing. In this exploration, we'll navigate through some of the important, sometimes surprising, dining customs that can trip up the unprepared traveler. First, let's start with a staple of many Asian dining experiences: chopsticks. Using them may appear simple, yet there's an inherent elegance required that goes beyond just coordinating your hand movements. In Japan, Korea, and China, each has its own set of rules on how to properly use them. For instance, in Japan, it's considered impolite to stick chopsticks upright in a bowl of rice. This resembles a funerary rite. Meanwhile, in Korea, placing chopsticks on the table while pausing during a meal could appear impolite, as they're expected to rest on the provided holder. Mastering the art of chopsticks in these cultures not only prevents miscommunication, but shows respect for their customs. Next, tipping. It's crucial to know that while this practice is common in countries like the United States, where leaving a tip shows appreciation for service, the same act might be seen as unnecessary or even inappropriate in places such as Japan or South Korea, where tipping isn't customary and could be perceived as challenging the dignity of the service staff. However, in Europe, the expectation could vary significantly depending on the country. Being informed ahead of time can spare you an awkward exchange and ensures you respect the cultural norms. Now ponder over the placement of your elbows. In many Western cultures, keeping your elbows off the table is an ingrained rule, a sign of good manners instilled from a young age. However, this might not hold the same level of importance across the globe. In some Mediterranean countries, for example, it might be more relaxed. Nonetheless, maintaining a respectful posture signifies attentiveness and engagement in almost any setting, demonstrating a universal gesture of respect. The order of who starts first in taking food is another potential pitfall. In many Middle Eastern cultures, as well as in traditional Chinese settings, it's customary to wait for the eldest or most respected person at the table to begin eating. Respect for hierarchy and age is paramount, and a slip-up here can be interpreted as disrespectful. This subtle, yet powerful rule speaks volumes about the value these cultures place on honor and respect. Consider also the act of clinking glasses before a toast. While this is usually a festive and welcome gesture in Western societies, in some Eastern cultures, including Japan, there's less emphasis on the physical act of clinking glasses and more on the verbal exchange. Understanding this can save you from an awkward moment of raised eyebrows or confusion. Let's take a look at the idea of finishing everything on your plate. In places like China, finishing all your food can be seen as a signal that you're still hungry, prompting your host to provide more. While in other cultures, such as in India or the southern United States, leaving a clean plate may imply enjoyment of the meal. The key is to read the room, observe, and adapt according to the cues given by those around you. Finally, we arrive at the concept of time. How long should you linger after dining? In Southern Europe, meals are meant to be savored, with lengthy conversations over coffee and dessert being the norm. In contrast, in some parts of Northern Europe, lingering too long could be considered disrespectful or impede the restaurant's operations. Feel the vibe and be observant. It can be your best guide. Dining is more than just satisfying hunger. It's an act interwoven with culture, identity, and communication. Each small ritual, from the way you hold your utensils to how you react to a toast, tells a story and reveals your understanding, or lack thereof, of the culture you are engaging with. With these insights, you can avoid awkward missteps and instead embrace the dining experience as a bridge to deeper social connections. Understanding these customs builds a framework of respect, signaling to your hosts or new friends that you're making the effort to learn and appreciate their ways. This attentiveness not only smooths your cultural journey, but creates genuine relationships forged over shared meals. So, as you sit down for your next international dining adventure, remember these insights and navigate with confidence and respect. Subscribe to Protocol Atlas for more cultural insights and global behavior briefings. Safe travels and happy dining.